Hello and welcome to What Map, the map review show for Cities Skylines. There are tens of thousands of maps in the workshop now, and so finding the right one for your next build is a huge task. So each day, Monday to Saturday, we'll review one, using our 5-star rating for aesthetics, detail and gameplay potential, awarding only the very best the coveted seal of approval. So join me, fellow Skylines explorers, as we venture to today's new land. Who am I? I'm BonBonB, and you are very, very welcome.
Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. And today's map, it's a creator request. We've done one from them before, so we'll see if they've improved on their previous work, shall we? Previously, they managed to get 8 whole stars. 8 stars is definitely beatable, I reckon. Then we're going to have a look at this asset midway through the day by one of our favourite creators, and then we're going to have a look at a theme which isn't very rocky. Okay, so what can I tell you about today's map? It's, oh crumbs, Krasnoveselsk? Yeah, we'll go with that. A Russian themed map by duffajfka. There's your start square. Now the previous map that we looked at from them was Last Cataract. Look at all that forestry. Yep. Well, that previous map was full of forestry. They like their trees, does Duffer? They really do. Now let's have a look at what we need to subscribe to, and there's quite a list. Quite a little list going on there. Unlimited trees mod is required to be set at 7, because there's quite a lot of trees on this map. Doesn't look like it though at first, does it? Look at that, that looks very clear. The only thing we've got going on down here are these grasses. Now, a lot of you are not going to like this, and I would understand that, because the grasses can slow the frame rate. I have got adaptive prop visibility set on, and they do clip out very, very quickly as well. I don't feel that they actually add anything along the sides of the roads here. Now, around the outside of that, though, of course, it's very clear. Now, I may be told that this is actually what the landscape is like in this part of Russia. There we are, see. Now we've got one road going up and one going through cutting. Okay, it's different. I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. But yeah, maybe the landscape is like this in this part of Russia. But it looks very dull and boring. Now, desert maps can be dull and boring because they can be very bland and not a bit of detailing there, you know, not much going on. Then you look at what Douglas provides for us, which are desert maps which are full of interest. And I would want this map to have a little bit more interest rather than being as dull as I'm afraid those clear plains are. Detail alongside the roads, it's interesting. A little bit of detailing in the roundabout there. Actually, very nice looking roundabout. Quite like that. Thank you very much. We actually feed off here and come down to this intersection, and there's a start location over there, but we're going to go off this way because we've got a few interesting little additions amongst all those many things to subscribe to. Obviously, all these lovely looking trees along here. Very pretty that it is. And you've got this road skirting the outside. I think that's okay. That's all right. And we get to the top, and we have got this partial ruins and some sort of glorious type church. I should have remembered to have looked up what this church is. Very Russian looking, very nice asset. It does kind of feel a little bit lost though, do you not think? Kind of just stuck up there. I mean, there is some detailing around it, but it just kind of feels a little underwhelming. I would have liked to have seen a little more done with that. Now, this bridge seems to waver in the middle, just off to the right slightly. Now, obviously, that's through where using the Move It tool, you do lose a little bit of accuracy once you use Move It, the longer you stretch things, and that's a very nicely stretched bridge. Very, very nice, very, very pretty, well stretched out, just wavers a little in the middle. Now if we go up this dirt track, we are going into the woods. Oh, if you go down to the woods today, oh, I wonder if there are any bears. Tonight's the night. Never mind, never, stop it. The teddy bears have there. Stop it, BonBon. Picnic. He's gone, he's lost it. Okay, anyway, Heading up here, we've got this church. And once again, a very nice asset, nice choice of asset. I think it fits the theme. Once again, the church feels kind of lost. Like these two decals, they're farming decals. They seem just a little bit, well, underused. I don't know, it just seems odd. The detailing isn't as great as it could be. Honestly, I would have been happy to live without the church up there, and just a little bit of tapering of the trees would have been nice. Now anyway, now we're well into the forests, and these forests are dense as, well, forest can get. A little bit of raised highway there, not too much of a problem. Yeah, so we've still got the grasses lining the side of the road, so that's okay. I had no real problem with it. It just seemed, when it was out in the plains, it just seemed lost alongside of the road. Anyway, along here, quite nice. Very, very cozy. I've got to say, it's very cozy in these forests. Very, very cozy. And there are so many trees. So many, possibly too many, but let's not criticise the number of trees, of course. This is quite a nice shallow looking river. Quite like that. Good choice of bridge across there. And then off again into the cutting. I say it's very... I mean, you imagine breaking down here and wandering off into the trees. You would get lost. These are dense as dense can go. Anyway, heading off towards the fog now. Bend off a little to the left. And just before we reach the fog, it's a slight clearing. Just a slight clearing. And it seems to be deliberate. So, yeah. It'd be nice to have seen a little more like that. Just to add a little bit of interest within the map as well. Right, we're going down the rail now. And, well, there's not really much to say about the rail. It's quite a flat landscape. It has been, let's say here, this is a nice bridge. It's, actually, to be fair, the rail's been quite well done. Because that could have easily been dropped off by a lesser creator. I think that would have just dropped down. But we've maintained the levels. It feels level and flat all the way. There might be some inclines, but nothing that raises any alarm bells. And then heading up here, we're going across this little river bridge. Once again, very nicely done. Nice and smoothly tapered up. And down the other side, it seems very straight as well. Unlike the road bridge, that's lovely and straight. And then that tapers off again. Very smooth, very nice. And now we're off into those very bleak and barren plains. And oh, we've got lining of grasses again. Anyway, enough of that. So let's go and have a look at one of the best assets you'll see today. Unless you see a lot of assets today, in which case it might not be. But this is very nice indeed. Lost Gecko. Quality creator. And this is Le Mans House number 2. Obviously you can see you've got a house on the left and some sort of like retail commercial unit on the right. Maybe the building on the left could have been some sort of like old factory units, possibly back in the day when they were making the units to sell in the shop, whatever they might have been. I quite like this. This is full of character. In fact, a lot of Lost Gecko's European star houses are so full of character. Got to say, really like that. Le Mans House number 2 by Lost Gecko. Today's asset of the day. And we are back to Krasnoveselsk. Yeah, I know I'm getting that wrong. A Russian themed map. And we have shipping down this. It seems like a shallow river, but we'll suspend disbelief to see this shipping route coming down the river, right down the middle of the river, so it's good work there. Nowhere near the banks. And, oh, we seem to have skipped back. Now, I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to prove that I am actually fallible. Well, you knew I was fallible anyway, but that was me fallibilizing this shipping. Anyway, so we're seeing where we've been already, and we're going down the middle of the river. See, good work there. Good work down the middle of the river. Might be too shallow, but we will suspend disbelief. I've said that already, but I'm going to have to say it again because I didn't have that much to say. Until we reach these bridges, which are too low for any kind of shipping that's going to come along here. And then this one as well. Too low again. So that would be major shipping clipping. The river itself, I'm not going to show you the little blue and white arrows because you can clearly see that the water is moving. If I was to stop and we were to have a look at this, you would see it moving. We've got some ripples on the go down here. Now the map has been running for a while, so I'm wondering if this is a permanent problem at this location, where the water is just thinning out so much that we can't get a proper layer across there. It'd be interesting to see if anybody can run the simulation for, let me say, a couple more years of in-game time to see whether or not that does clear. But like down here, it just seems to be lacking a little bit of water flow on the edges there. Let's head up there. This is water flow as well. This is a nice little feeder river as well, and actually I quite like one of my favourite parts of the map, I would suggest, up here. The water's just about running, it's very shallow, you can see the old gravel underneath, and then it fades out, but you can still see where there would have been water flow. This is really nice, and probably a really good place for wildlife, I'd suggest. Like this bear. Today's the day the teddy bears do have their picnic. We'll call him Rupert. Rupert the bear. Anyway, what more have we got? Well, we've got a lot of trees. A lot of trees. First of all, we got this mixture, and I'm saying they're very colourful and bright. And you can see where there would have been some sort of like major forestry clearances where it just stops dead. And that I'm okay with. I just like to see a little more character in the areas that have been cleared of trees, like here. And then we got sort of like straight into these real dark pine forests, and there's no real blends there. It just goes straight from one to the other, which I find a little odd. But then once we get to these, I mean, this is really well done. Okay, this is really very nice. You know, I'm totally believing these forested areas. They are super dense, and when they run out, like stop here, it's almost like they have been cleared. But this area here just lacks any kind of texture at all. It's just boring, if I'm honest with you, and that really does take away from the map massively. Anyway, we've got another different sort of tree running up the sides of the mountains, which are, they're okay. I have no problem with them. They don't really shout out at you, but they're fine. And then along here we've got another mountain, and like I say, the not so I would say not so rocky theme. It's not the not so rocky theme. What am I talking about? That's coming up later. I've ruined the surprise for you guys. Anyway, yes. This asset, we'll finish on this one because it's interesting, if nothing else. It's probably the best part of the map. Aesthetically, do you know what? It's kind of okay. I kind of like the density of the forests, but honestly there's not much more beyond that, so I'm just going to give that a middly 3. Detailing kind of lets itself down. There's nothing majorly wrong with it, but these little extra assets have been put in, like these churches. They should have done more with these churches just to make them more of a feature area. Unfortunately they've underdone, so just 2 stars. Gameplay potential, not much holding it back. I'll tell you what, I'll be generous and I'll give it a 3rd star for gameplay. Krasnoveselsk, a Russian themed map, not pronounced like that, by duffajfka, and that is today's map. So unfortunately couldn't improve on the 8 stars I gave them last time, but then they didn't get relegated down either. Anyway, today's theme is not so rocky. You kind of knew that was coming though, didn't you, after my foul up during the map review itself. Yeah, the not so rocky theme, this one, it's a theme which, not surprisingly, isn't quite as rocky as some of the other themes we've seen. Oh, what a life, what a life. Top left hand corner we have the vanilla Temperate, LUT as per always, and today's 2 regular rotational LUTs that we have are the realistic 1.2 in the top right. In the bottom left we've got the palish LUT. Once again, these 2 were voted for you guys a few weeks ago, and we'll do another vote in a few weeks time so that you can mix them up and you can pick new ones if you really want. Today's guest LUT in the bottom right hand corner is a nice vivid one called Cleyra, which was just jumped out at me, and I thought, you know what, we'll have a look at that. So anyway, shall we shall we do some of the usual? Is it about time we had a little factoid fest? Do you think? Well, today is about people to remember, or things to remember. And these are factoids that you will not remember, because I know that I can call any of these when I started reading them out again. Let me pop some extra light on. Right, so what have we got? Scunthorpe. Now this is a town in England, in the United Kingdom, and it's one of those which sometimes, well, it will get asterisked out by Google or various other spell checkers because of its spelling. I'll better spell it for you just so that you know what I'm talking about. It starts with an S, and the next four letters are C-U-N-T followed by H-O-R-P-E. As you can probably tell from the the second to the fifth letter, that would cause some problems sometimes. But Scunthorpe was named after an Irish... Sorry, an Irish... Do you know what? I should just give up now. I should. It was named after a Danish pirate. I didn't even know pirates come from Denmark, but there we are. I wonder if they had any bacon on board, and if they did, why didn't they leave it with me? Anyway, we're up. Harvey Kennedy. Harvey Kennedy. Do you know Harvey Kennedy? No? Well, you should, because he's the man who invented the shoelace. It's true. The first recorded caesarean birth was carried from shoelaces to caesarean. Whatever you... Speak in English, BonBon, speak in English. Whatever YouTube channel would you get a switch from shoelaces to caesarean births whilst reviewing maps? I don't know. Me neither. Or talking to myself. Anyway, the first recorded caesarean birth was carried out in 1500 by a man who was a pig gelder by profession. If you would worry now if that happens. Yes, oh, sorry, my doctor and midwife are not available. Quick, call the vet. Oh, the classic graffiti phrase, Kilroy was here. Now, you've got to be of a certain age to know about Kilroy was here. But yes, Kilroy was here. Originated by James Kilroy, who was employed in the Second World War in a shipyard to inspect warships under construction. On everything he inspected, he wrote, Kilroy was here, to prove he checked it. And so it stuck. There you are, Kilroy was here. Also, anybody remember Chad was here? Anybody? Yeah, me too. It's great. The 19th century bullfighter, and I'm going to have trouble here again, but I'll do my best. Lagaratio? Lagaratio. I'm going Lagaratio. I'm going with that. It's got a J near the end, which is, in my poor old English tongue, is not working. Anyway, he killed over 4,500 bulls during his career. What a waste. What a waste. St. Cuthbert was noted for his running and jumping. Well, he can take a run and jump then, can't he? Hey, let's flip the page. I know I've got some more good ones here. More books have been written about Jack the Ripper than any other murderer. And I'm not surprised. The parking meter was invented in 1935 by Carl McGee. And he was hounded to his death. No, yeah, I no, he wasn't hounded to it. I added that. I made it up. The inch was defined by Henry III as the length covered by 3 barleycorns placed in a row. Obviously, I think this has changed in recent years. The saxophone is named after its inventor, Antoine Sax. Not really much more to say about that. And you can recognise a messenger of the Bank of England by his pink coat and scarlet waistcoat. Well, whoopee-doo. So that's where my money's going. To fitting these guys out to look like... Ooh, what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, maybe we shouldn't go there. not in a Cities Skylines map review show. Well, thanks for watching, commenting, liking and subscribing. Join me tomorrow for another map in the What's Map series. You can click the link on the left for the latest video on the channel. Click the link on the right to watch another What's Map, and click the big circle to subscribe. Don't forget you can join me on Patreon, where there are lists of all the maps that have been reviewed and so much more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye now.